Ayan. So, I guess we could now discuss the IAS 1 presentation of financial statements. So, again, this standard statement is issued by the IFRS board. So, as we go through these 46 pages standard statement, again, I would like to remind you that whenever you're going to read a standard statement like this, so we have to familiarize ourselves with the objective, okay, and then the definition, scope. You have to read that part, and then the details. Yeah, financial statements out of purpose, complete set, general features, and then structure and content, the composition of the complete financial statement. Well, actually, you already have discussed this during your um, previous years, right? And it's just a review. It's just that on this part, hindi na to libro. And kung ano yung wordings dito, yun talaga yung nasa standard. Wherein, as compared to your undergrad years, those books that you have studied with, ang ginagawa lang ng mga author, di ba, is, syempre, kukunin yung paragraph for the definition itself, kung paano siya kung paano yung wordings sa standards, and then yung mga latter part will be their own interpretation as to the standards. So, okay, let's go through this. Mhm. Let's go here. Ayan. So, objective of the financial statements. So, what is the purpose of the IAS 1 or for the presentation of financial statements? This standard prescribes the basis for presentation of general purpose financial statements, which is what? To ensure the comparability both with the entity's financial statements of previous periods and with the financial statements of other entities. Kasi hindi lang naman tayo nagko-compare by period. We also have to compare with by entities, di ba? Lalo na kung investor ka, you have to decide whether to invest on this certain company as compared to this. So, this IS1 is really helpful for those kind of users of the financial statements and also for the preparers kasi if ito yung standard na kailangang i-meet, well, kung ikaw yung preparer, you have to read this, you have to familiarize yourself with this kasi you have to meet kung ano ba yung need na financial information ng investor. So, syempre, ito yung magiging um, middleman nyo or parang you have to meet halfway. So, yan yung purpose ng standards. Okay. And again, I just want to highlight that whenever you read the standard statement, you will notice na may mga paragraphs na naka-bold. So, it means na the standard is giving emphasis on that part. So, kindly familiarize yourself with that. So, on this case, for the scope, an entity shall apply this standard in preparing and presenting general purpose financial statements in accordance with international financial reporting standards. So, as we have discussed, kindly note that the purpose of this IAS 1 is for presenting the general purpose financial statements. Kasi there were times na sa exam, lalo na sa theories, yung general na yan might be changed into special. So, syempre, kung special purpose financial statements yan, mag-iiba na yung purpose wherein yung mga yan is specific na sila. Like, for example, isa kang company and you have to to prepare a financial report wherein i-approve ng bank yung malaking financing na need mo. So, it's a special because yung purpose mo is special. So, the way you present the financial information might not be the same with the way the general financial statement is being prepared. So, okay. And for those special purpose financial statements, yan na yung hindi na siya sakop totally ng IAS 1. So, yun. Kindly familiarize yourself with that. And then, for the definitions, again, mahalaga din na ma-revisit nyo tong mga to. Kasi although you have encountered already almost all of this, I assume there were still things here na you have to revisit again for your own sake din, lalo na pag nag-board exam kayo kasi wordings are almost presented the way it has been presented based sa standard. So, ayan. Okay. Itong concept of materiality, kindly familiarize yourself with this kasi mahalaga din to, lalo na sa ODPRAG. Mapapansin nyo rin to, madalas nyong may encounter tong word na to. So, okay. Material is, an information is material if omitting, misstating, or obscuring it could reasonably be expected to influence decisions. In Tagalog, mahalaga ang isang information if and only if kapag ka hindi mo pinresent yung information na yun, maapektuhan nun yung decision that you have to come up with. Okay, classic example on the business side. Okay, isa kang, ikaw yung may-ari ng business. And then, you're looking for investors, okay. Several investors, so hindi lang isa. And then, merong isang transaction specific sa business mo wherein ayaw mong i-present sa financial information. So that is for example, yung composition okay, yun. So may malaking debt or may malaking debt yung shareholder mo sa company mo. And then that's just something na ayaw mong i-present dun sa mga potential investor mo. So, kung hindi mo i-present yun sa sa potential investor mo, they would assume na the company that you're offering to them is well secured as to the financials and walang ibang problema. So, syempre, yung decision nila na umuo or humindi is based lang sa kung ano yung pinresent mong information or representation mo. Pero kasi if hindi mo ipe-present to, so 'di ba, unfaithfully represented. So maapektuhan nito yung decision nila. So masasabi mo material isang bagay if it will affect the decision of the user of the financial statement or the financial information. Okay. Well, tama naman, immaterial siya if hindi siya makaka-apekto sa decision. So, ayun lang. Whenever you study theories, di ba kasi usually dalawa lang yan. Two sides of the coin, di ba? Yung isa lang yung kabisaduhin mo kasi it will already follow for the other one. Baliktarin mo lang. So, ganyan kami nag-aaral before. Like, for example, concept of materiality. You just have to familiarize yourself with the concept or the deeper understanding on the materiality or on the material concept. Pero, you don't have to study further na dun sa immateriality. Kasi pag na-master mo na yung concept ng materiality, then, kabaliktaran na lang nun, yun yung materiality. So, mas napadali yung buhay mo mag-aaral if ganun. And then, again, okay, so owners, profit and loss, reclassification adjustments, total comprehensive income. Again, kindly familiarize yourselves with this. So, purpose of financial statements. Okay, let's go through this. Financial statements are a structured representation of the financial position and financial performance of an entity. Financial position, ito yung sa balance sheet. Financial performance, ito yung income statements. Ito kasi di ba yung report wherein magre-reflect kung ano yung financial status ng company. Well, financial position, ito yung as of. Financial performance, ito yung for the year ended or for a month ended. So, I hope na klaro naman sa inyo yung wordings na yon kasi again, those technicalities, even just one word na ma-omit, mag-iiba na yung interpretation. So, ayun. As early as now, kindly familiarize yourselves kahit na paulit-ulit. Kindly please do so. Para at least, once you see the statement or once you see the the word, automatic na siya sa brain nyo. Kasi palagi nyo na siya nakikita. And then the objective of financial statements is what? To provide financial information about the financial position, financial performance, and cash flows of an entity that is useful to a wide range of users in making economic decisions. Okay, and then so again, financial statements, ito yung mga report as to the assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses, including gains and losses, contributions by and distributions to owners in their capacity as owners, and cash flow. And I hope na nare-recall nyo yung complete set of financial statements. Again, from statement of financial position down to profit or loss, changes in equity, cash flow, notes. So, yan yung complete set ng financial statements. Even until letter E, it's already okay. You can consider it already as complete set. Well, actually, I hope you've already seen an actual financial statement. So, wala ako kasing sample dito ng isang dummy company. However, based on my experience in the audit, so, ang itsura ng isang set talaga ng financial statement na isinasubmit ng mga company sa SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and with the BIR, so Bureau of Internal Revenue, is isang set siya wherein talagang hindi mo pwedeng ipasa na statement of financial position lang. So, magkakasama yan. Statement of financial position, profit or loss, changes in equity, cash flow, and yung notes. So, ang itsura lang nun is like, for example, siguro one-pager for financial position, one-pager for profit or loss, one-pager for changes in equity, and one-pager for cash flow. Itong notes, hindi siya pwedeng mawala. Kasi, kasi as you can see, di ba, na-mention ko, almost one-pager yung ABCD. Normally or averagely, usually. Okay. Pero yung notes kasi, this will serve as the storyteller of those figures presented. So, kumbaga, for example, makita mo yung financial position, may breakdown doon, and then may nakita kang list. Ngayon, ikaw as a user, or as a user, so parang you will ask yourself, ano tong list na to? Saan sila merong list? Ano yung nirerenta nila? Anong nature nito? Saan to? Yung nature ng business naman is malabong magkaroon sila ng upa or ng renta. So, 'di ba? Itong notes hindi siya dapat mawalay dun sa complete set ng financial statement. Pero lahat sila is equally important. So, ayan. Itong letter E and F, hindi sa lahat ng instances naman is required sila. So, kindly revisit na lang din. Okay. So, ito yung diniscuss ko earlier. An entity shall present with equal prominence all of the financial statements, the complete set of financial statements. Okay. Wait lang. And so, I think we can go now with the, okay. Again, kindly familiarize yourselves with those paragraphs in bold letter. However, you don't have to memorize them word by word. Kasi, ayun, as we have discussed previously, ito naman is talagang technically na din to para sa mga preparers and user and for the ISB alone. Pero for you na student pa lang, it is really already your advantage to familiarize yourselves with this. So, the concept of going concern, review na lang to. So, kindly revisit this paragraph, this section. The accrual basis of accounting. So, an entity shall prepare its financial statements except for cash flow information using the accrual basis of accounting. So, by default, accrual basis tayo. Ano ba yung mga instances na nagka-cash basis tayo usually? Whenever we prepare for tax, di ba? Kasi si Bier kasi is cash basis talaga. So, ang assumption niya talaga is yung cash. Ang concern niya talaga is the cash flow of the company. And then, I think we can go through itong offsetting. Kaya niyo naman na yun i-understand. So, offset, di ba? Meaning, para, for example, kung may payable, offset it with the receivable. So, frequency of reporting. Okay. Ito yung na-discuss natin previously na at least annually or depende kung gaano ka frequent yung kailangan ng ng users of the financial information. Okay. And then, okay. And then, the consistency. Yes. Ito is isa din to, di ba, sa enhancer ng how do you say that the financial information is useful. So, isa yan sa enhancing qualitative characteristics, di ba? Okay. So, ito yung at some point, again, you might have encountered this, pero kindly revisit this. Okay. Yung mga nakapresent sa financial statements is as much as possible. So, meron yung name of the reporting entity. Kasi syempre, how do you identify if kaninong revenue yun, kaninong asset yun, if hindi nakapresent, kung sinong entity yun. So, kailangan din na nakaspecify whether subsidiary lang ba siya or it is already a consolidated FS. I think you're aware naman that we have group of companies, di ba, dito sa Philippines. Like for example, classic example yung mga billionaires natin. So, I won't drop any specific names, pero yung mga billionaires natin, di ba, mababalitaan mo, they have a group of company wherein, for example, ABC group of company. Pero, um, meron pa silang mga subsidiaries. So, whenever they prepare financial statements, dapat naka-specify dun sa financial statement if that financial statement is pertaining to the group, meaning the consolidated one, or the entities within that group, meaning for a specific subsidiary lang. Kasi if ikaw kasi yung user ng financial information, you have to know if ano ba yung tinitingnan mo on a group level, on a consolidated level, or on a per entity level alone. And then the date of the end of the reporting period covered. So, syempre, mahalaga din naman na nakalagay ito, di ba? Kasi if well presented every information therein, pero hindi naman nakaspecify kung anong date, walang sense. Kasi kung ikaw yung user ng financial information, you can't identify kung anong period yung pinag-uusapan. So, hindi ka rin capable of comparing that financial information with the other financial statement set that you have. And then the presentation currency, yes. Okay, medyo technical to, pero I can't remember if nakakita na ako na nakapresent in dollars. I think yes. So, dapat nakaspecify talaga sa, even though na nandito tayo sa Philippines, still, the financial statement should indicate if that's in peso or in millions. Kasi merong iba na sobrang laki ng figure, like umaabot na ng billion, so they have to round it off. So, nakaspecify mismo dun sa face ng financial statement na the figures presented is rounded off into millions. Okay. Ayan, so letter E. That's already in support to letter E. Okay. Um, Statement of financial position. Okay, I think this is too specific na din kung ano yung ipe-present mo sa financial statement, sa statement of financial position. Ito yung balance sheet kung tinatawag natin before, di ba? Mhm. Hindi ko maalala kung what's the reason behind kung ba't hindi ito nakapresent ng base sa, I don't know kung bakit PPE yun na una. Anyway, nevertheless. Sige. So, that's why, as you can see dito sa paragraph 54, excuse me, all throughout your journey as an accounting student, ito din yung mga pinag-aralan nyo. Tama ba? So, start from cash down to receivable, inventory, biological asset, intangible, financial asset, investment property, PPE, payables, provision, financial liability, deferred tax liab, equity, okay, so capital. As you can see, ito din yung mga topic or chapters or lessons that you have encountered during your early years. So, tama lang na during review semester or during this time nyo na na-experience to see and to study a standard statement like this. Kasi ito na yung pinaka bird's eye view eh. At some point, maintindihan nyo na kung ano yung nakasulat dito. So, as you can see, di ba? Parang if ikaw yung magiging preparer, sooner or later, or ikaw yung magiging user ng financial statement or financial information, if at some point you are knowledgeable enough or you have the reasonable understanding kung ano tong mga item na nandito, alam mo yung concept kung paano sila na-record sa financial statement, 'di ba? So, yan nga, from cash down to receivable, down to liability, capital. So, okay. That's why as much as I want to ask you, itong review semester na to, this will really help you a lot to align and to assess if asa na ba yung alam nyo. So that you can adjust your study habits as you go through your review semester and right away pagka-graduate nyo when you go to actual review na. So, I think let's proceed to ayan, so distinction as to current or non-current, yung liab. Ano lang ba naman yung kina-classify natin ng current or non-current, di ba? It's either asset or liability. So, ayan, kindly revisit yourselves din kasi nakapresent dito kung ano yung mga criteria when do you consider an asset or a liability as current and otherwise. Mhm. Okay, itong paragraph 61. Whichever method of presentation is adopted, an entity shall disclose the amount expected to be recovered or settled after more than 12 months for each asset and liability line item that combines amounts expected to be recovered or settled no more than 12 months after the reporting period or more than 12 months after the reporting period. And current asset. When do you consider an asset as current? So, nakalist down naman dito yung apat na criteria. So, kindly familiarize and revisit for yourselves. Kasi baka mamaya hindi updated yung current knowledge that you have. So, again, as you can see, ito yung isa sa atake sana pag nagre-review. No? Ang aralin mo lang is yung isa. Kung you have to choose between the two, just choose the other one. And then, yun yung aralin nyo. And then, kung ano yung kabaliktaran, yun na yung para sa isa. So, hindi mo na kailangan i-identify or baliktar ito at kabisaduhin para dun sa isa. So, okay, current asset. You will have to classify an asset as current if and only if it expects to realize the asset, intend to sell or consume it in its normal operating cycle. So, I hope na na-explain to in detail sa inyo ng mga professor nyo before. However, kindly allow me to review this part. Normal operating cycle, it doesn't mean na current siya. So, dapat 1 year lang siya. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Kasi there were industries or companies wherein a normal operating cycle nila is more than a year. Or meron ata parang more than 5 years, I don't know. Pero ang classic example nito is the wine industry, right? Wherein kailangan mo pa kasing i-ferment, I don't know if that's the right term, yung wine before mo siya mabenta. So the normal operating cycle cannot uh, cannot cannot stand alone through a year. So ayan. If so you have to know the nature then ng business, 'di ba? Pero kung normal na business naman 'yan, yes, a normal operating cycle is just a year. And then letter B, it holds an asset primarily for the purpose of trading, for the purpose of trading. So, syempre, when you have an asset, your purpose, syempre, is to trade or to exchange it for something in the future. And then it expects to realize the asset within 12 months after the reporting period, or the asset or the asset is cash or a cash equivalent unless the asset is restricted from being exchanged or to settle the liability for at least 12 months after the reporting period. Again, yung mga nakapresent sa current portion should not be restricted. Kasi, for example, you have cash in bank amounting to 10 million, and then it is naka-disclose doon na it is restricted for plant expansion ng company. So, di ba, as you can see, dapat kasi parallel yan eh. So, if yung cash that you have is restricted and for the purpose of a plant expansion, and so you have to classify it as a non-current kasi yung purpose niya is non-current eh. 'Di ba? So, plant expansion, ano ba yung magiging output niyan right after, 'di ba, PPE? So, if yung purpose mo is non-current, so the classification of the account itself is also non-current. Okay, that's why talagang kaya maganda yun sa profession natin because hindi tayo nagre-rely lang kung ano lang yung nababasa natin. We really have to understand if ano ba talaga yung nangyayari. Ano ba talaga yung nangyayari sa transaction. So, before we come up with a decision. So, same with current liability. Again, it expects to settle the liability in its normal operating cycle. So, um, be reminded of the wine industry example. And then letter B, it holds the liability primarily for the purpose of trading. Same on also with the current asset. Kindly revisit this section. And then I think let's proceed to, that's too technical this one. So yeah, ito isa pa to sa you have to familiarize yourselves with, no? Kung ano yung mga need na i-present and i-disclose for the share of capital. And I hope na na-discuss to. And actually, you can really revisit this kasi this should be aligned with your law, corporation law, I think, or partnership law. So, ayan. Ma-helpful din naman to sa inyo. So, kindly familiarize yourselves. Okay, statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Okay, and then what do we have here? Nangangalahati na tayo dito. So, again, ayan. So, I think we can continue. So, let's go through this. An example of a classification using the nature of expense method. I think you already encountered this sa Financial Accounting 3, I guess, di ba? Yung kung ano yung method, dalawa lang may method that was being used for presenting the expense, di ba? So, yan. Kindly revisit this. Mhm. Statement of changes in equity. Okay, kindly revisit this one. Statement of cash flow and then the notes. Again, dapat talaga kasama yan sa financial statement kasi yan yung storyteller of the figures that were presented. Disclosure of accounting policy, kailangan. Kasi if ikaw yung user ng financial statement, you need to understand if ano ba kasing policy ng company. For example, sa PPE, ano bang policy ng company? Ilang taon ba yung depreciation or useful lives ng mga PPE nila? So, bakit lahat nung PPE nila is fully depreciated na? So, ayan. And then, sources of estimation uncertainty. Okay, kindly just read that one. You don't have to memorize that word by word. And then, I think we're almost done, no? Capital. Okay. Okay. And then, transition and effective date. No, hindi niyo na to kailangan. Itong part na to. Kasi, that's already about the history of this standard. Marami na kasi mga naging revision to. So, you don't have to read pa ito and then hanggang sa baba. Let's just run through this, no? Kung ano pa yung nandito. Ito. Malilito lang kasi kayo if babasahin nyo itong pababa eh. Pero kailangan lang to na nandito kasi para dun sa mga users na kung saan meron silang financial information na binabasa na nakapublish or reports na pertaining pa dun sa mga sobrang kauna-unahang taon pa. Okay, we're done with this. So, I guess yun lang for IAS 1 presentation of financial statements. So, thank you and bye.